Hi there, and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll learn how to create different properties based on a selected drop-down value. As an example, I've selected this directional light, and inside the light component, inside the properties grid, I have the directional type selected. And based on this selection, I get all these properties. But if I change this to a spotlight, for instance, I get different kind of properties. And we can easily just as well do this for our own scripts. As you can see, I've set up this some enemy entity in our scene, and it only contains this enemy script, which is a sync script. And now let's add a type ourselves, and then based on that type, we will get different properties. So let's switch to coding. For the sake of this tutorial, we'll be typing everything into this single enemy script. So we have a sync script here, which contains the default start and update method. And outside of that enemy, I'm going to make a new class called public class enemy type. And it's gonna get some basic property. Now let's say every enemy in our game has a float value, which indicates its health. Every enemy has that. And in order to serialize this data directly to the editor, we need to add the data contract attribute, which is inside the stride.gore namespace. So be sure to include that into your script. Now let's copy this script. And let's say that we have an enemy which is a wizard. And this wizard inherits from enemy type. And of course, every single wizard in existence has mana. And since we're inheriting, we also have this health property. Let's make another class. Let's say that this time we also have an archer, which inherits from enemy type as well. And let's give this a different kind of property type or a variable type. Let's say shooting distance. Let's assign a default value, the minimum shooting distance of 2 and maximum of 40. It doesn't really matter. But we can also have another subtype of this archer. So instead of inheriting from enemy type, we're inheriting from archer. Let's call this a fire archer. And as fire archer, he can shoot flaming arrows. Why not? I mean, we're game developers, we can do this. Right, so this is looking kind of cool, and this is going to be our setup for that property. The only thing the first thing that we need to do is add this option right here, enemy type, and let's give it the same name for the variable. But if we would compile this and go directly to the editor, we would not be seeing a lot of things. We would get this option here in our enemy properties, but there's no drop down just yet, because we're missing one essential keyword on the base class enemy type, and that is the magic word abstract. When we do this, Stride recognizes that this is a base class and that it needs to construct this drop-down list based on this abstract keyword. So if I build this one more time, and if I go back, you now have this drop-down list available. And if I select wizard, we have health and mana. If I select archer, we still have health, but we now have a shooting distance and no mana. And better yet, if we are a fire archer, we have all three options at our disposal. And that's how you do different properties based on a selected drop-down value in the Stride editor. Thanks for watching.